Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the first video for my new channel. We're going to be covering primarily college football content, but also NFL, fantasy, the draft, pretty much anything related to football. We're going to be covering it here. My name is Forrest Sancombe, and today for my first video, I thought we would get started on a way too early 2023 NFL mock draft. So we're only going to be doing the first round today. If you guys want me to do 2 rounds, 3 rounds, because 3 rounds is the maximum we can go on the simulator right now. But if you guys want to see more, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to include some more prospects. I really like this class a lot. I think there's a lot of great depth in here. Several positions are absolutely loaded, like corner, edge, receiver. Quarterback is way better than last year's class. So I think it's going to be definitely an exciting draft class to see the way the board develops, and definitely some future stars for sure in here. So let's get started. Anybody who's mad about the draft order, this is decided by PFF. I had absolutely no influence on this, so I don't really want to hear it. All right. First off, we got the Atlanta Falcons, my favorite team. I was born in Atlanta, moved up here when I was about 6 years old. Been an all Atlanta sports fan for my whole life. It's tough living in New England, you know. All right, let's see. So we got the Falcons going number 1. It's obviously pretty early. You know, Desmond Ridder hasn't even started playing yet. Not exactly sure how he's going to do. He could be good. He could be bad. It could be in between. But for now, I'm going to, stick with the idea that Desmond Ridder would be at least okay and definitely has some room to develop. So I'm going to go with the best prospect on the board, Will Anderson Jr. Absolute freak. The best edge prospect we've seen coming out in a long, long time. He's better than the Bosa brothers. He's better than Chase Young, in my opinion. Comparable with Myles Garrett, but, close. Better than anybody this past year. Aiden Hutchinson, Trayvon Walker, Kayvon Thibodeau, better than all those guys. Dude is an absolute monster, and if the Falcons need help with one position, it is edge. Now we got the Texans at number 2, and I liked what Davis Mills was doing his rookie year, but you got to assume that if after his second year, where they did get him some more talent on the roster, if they're still picking number 2 overall, you should probably go QB. Sorry about that. Anyway. All right. Anyway, for the Houston Texans, we're going to be looking QB. So we're going to go with, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the draft class, CJ Stroud. Now, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, it's definitely a tight comparison as to who you prefer for quarterback 1. However, I personally prefer CJ Stroud. I think he's got more of an NFL body. He's about 6'3", compared to Bryce Young being about 5'11", sub 200 pounds. I think CJ Stroud has a stronger arm. I think he's slightly less accurate than Bryce Young, but I find him to be, quite athletic, great arm, good decision making. Like I said, more of an NFL body. I really like him for QB1 in this class. Now we're in the same situation with the Lions. If they're still picking a number 3 after, signing good free agents, drafting well last year, Aiden Hutchinson, Jameson Williams, all these guys, I think that it's definitely time to move on from Jared Goff. So we're going to go with QB2 in this class, in my opinion, Bryce Young. As I stated earlier, a little bit of concerns when it comes to being sub 6 feet, sub 200 pounds. But, he's still a great quarterback. He does have an NFL arm talent. He is athletic, and obviously won the Heisman. He's a great player. I just prefer CJ Stroud. Now, this is where things start to get interesting because we got the Seattle Seahawks at number 4. Obviously, they just traded away Russell Wilson. They got Drew Lock and Geno Smith right now, so I don't think anybody would be opposed to going QB here. However, I've seen about 3 or 4 different QBs taken with this pick right here. I've seen Tyler Van Dyke out of Miami go. I've seen Will Levis out of Kentucky. I've seen Anthony Richardson out of Florida. And I've seen like 1 or 2 people go with Philly Jerkovich. I'm not 100% sold on him yet. I know he's coming off an injury, but definitely does have the opportunity to up his stock this year with him and his number 1 receiver, Zay Flowers, returning. But still not just not on the cards for me to take Phil Jerkovich here. I would say right now I would lean towards a guy like a Will Levis. Just when it comes to the Seahawks, they're known for they do like to run the ball a lot, and he's a bigger, stronger quarterback, more of a Josh Allen build. Also, he has got unbelievable arm strength, like setting velocity records with his throws. He can air it out. If they've still got DK, if they got Tyler Lockett, he can really zip it out there to those guys. Does need to develop his accuracy a little bit, but definitely the most NFL body out of anybody in this class, in my opinion. Now we got the Jets at number 5, and this is tough because, this past year, obviously in the top 10, they went Garrett Wilson and they went Sauce Gardner. I don't know why I was blanking for a second. So they don't really need receiver. They don't really need corner. They don't really need interior D-line. They got Quinnen Williams, They got some other guys too, but Quinnen Williams definitely the best one of them. I think for now, taking an O-lineman for them would probably be the best idea since they decided not to take one early in the draft. So I'm going to go with, in my opinion, the best offensive lineman in the draft class, Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. He is an extremely talented offensive lineman, guard, tackle, flexibility. Can really move across the offensive line depending on what they want to do with the guys they got in position there already and who they want to draft or sign in the future. All right, now we got the Jaguars on the clock. And this pick's a no-brainer. It's got to be Jalen Carter, interior defensive lineman out of Georgia. The interior of the defensive line is not great, and he's been immensely talented, was arguably the best player on the Georgia defensive line last year, which is saying something with guys like Trayvon Walker, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, guys like that. Jalen Carter is a monster. Fantastic D-tackle. Now we got the Panthers up, next spot for a QB. They took Ikem Ekwonu this year, which was a great pick. They did take Matt Corral in the 3rd round, but I am not too sure about Matt Corral. So honestly, I think it would be good to take a QB here. I mean, if things don't work out with Matt Corral, you'll have this guy. If things don't work out with this guy, you'll have Matt Corral. Sort of a best of both worlds situation. So I think we're going to go with, in my opinion, the next best quarterback on the board, Tyler Van Dyke. Doesn't have a lot of tape out yet. Didn't play too long at Miami, but he is an immensely talented quarterback. He has shown some real NFL skill level. Now we got the Bears at number 8, and I think, pretty much everybody could agree that the most important need for the Bears is getting Justin Fields weapons. So I'm going to go with the best receiver in the draft class, pretty much unanimously. Some people might say Kayshon Boutte, Jordan Addison, but Jackson Smith-Njigba, in my opinion, the number 1 receiver in the class. It's not even that close either, in my opinion. So Jackson Smith-Njigba it is. Now we got the Giants on the clock. I believe they still have 2 first-round picks here. Nope. All right, I'm incorrect. But anyway, we got the Giants here. Last year they drafted Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal. What they really need is a corner. They lost James Bradbury. They got no corners. So I'm going to go with who I have ranked as my corner 1 for the class, Kelly Ringo. He's got great size. He's got great ball skills, had that big interception in return in the national championship. He is definitely a fantastic player and has a lot of room to grow skill-wise with already having such an athletic frame for the cornerback position. Now we got Washington here. They got Carson Wentz. Seems like Carson Wentz just can't find anywhere to play. Maybe he'll work out in Washington, although I suspect he won't. But the quarterback position is kind of thinning out. Anthony Richardson is here, but kind of unsure what's going to happen with him in terms of the fact that he hasn't played very much at Florida yet, and he also has shown amazing flashes, but also some really questionable decision-making and accuracy too. So I'm going to stay away from him and draft them an elite corner to help out that defense. They already have a great front 7, but I think if we take Eli Ricks here, really bolster that cornerback room. Now we got Pittsburgh on the clock, and kind of going to see a run of corners here. Their cornerback room is a little bit in trouble. They had some good guys for a while that are either retired or gone. Joe Hayden's retired. They got some guys still there now, but they definitely could use help in the cornerback room. So going on a little bit of a run here, and we're going to take Antonio Johnson, another big corner out of Texas A&M. Should be good for the Steelers system. They like bigger DBs. All right, we got the Vikings here. They went corner and they went safety in the draft last year, so that's not the biggest concern of mine. I think the value here you can't really pass up for getting a monster interior D lineman like Brian Bresee. So that's what we're going to go with right now. Now the Eagles, this past year, I'm trying to think about who they drafted. They took Jordan Davis, and it wasn't Devin Lloyd. Oh, that's right. They traded for A.J. Brown. And then I know they took somebody else too, but I'm just kind of struggling to think of it right now. But anyway, so I think what we really need to do for them is they traded for James Bradbury. So their cornerback room with him, Darius Slay, it's not looking as bad anymore. Targeting the offensive line is probably a good idea just because they've got so many aging players there, even though they do have some young players there too. Jordan Mailata, guys like that. I still think that the offensive line is a little bit in trouble. So we're going to take Paris Johnson Jr. He's a fantastic player, was one of the top-ranked players in the nation coming out of high school. And he's played guard at Ohio State, but he's going to be playing tackle this year, and a lot of people think he's going to do really well there. Now we got the Raiders, and obviously they need a lot of help in a couple of different places. Just traded for Devontae Adams, so I think offensive line for them has got to be – it's just got to be the biggest priority. So let's see. Their rankings are a little bit far from what I would put myself. Yeah, I'm going to go with this guy. I'm going to go with Andrew Voorhees out of USC. Once again, listed as a guard. Did play tackle last year. Played really well. The Pac-12 is slightly worse in terms of competition, but players have been, he's been playing really well out there, held up against some good players, and now with USC, becoming a much bigger program with, coaching change and also, more players coming in. I think it's going to be really exciting to see what Andrew Voorhees can do this year. Now we got the Miami Dolphins, and this is the pick that everybody pegs to be a running back, right? It's like the Dolphins haven't really been able to figure out their running back room in a while, but when it comes down to it, you have a guy who is truly an elite running back prospect. People don't like to take running backs in the first round anymore, but Bijan Robinson, if any running back should be taken in the first round, is worth it. And, he can settle that running back room for years to come. You look at that offense now, whatever happens with Tua, but you got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle, you got Teron Armstead on the O-line, you throw Bijan Robinson in there, like with Mike Gesicki too. It's a lot of good players on that offense. So that's what we're going to do here. Patriots on the clock. They desperately need corner and receiver. A lot of the good corners have gone off the board, but I think there's one more good guy that's worth taking this early, and I think that would be Cam Smith out of South Carolina. A lot of big corners in this class. The Patriots do like size at DB. They like size at pretty much every position, but I think Cam Smith would be a good fit for the Patriots. The Titans on the clock now, no-brainer. We got to go receiver here. Best on the board, Kayshon Boutte. Just absolute freak out of LSU. Had a really good season until he got hurt. Was on his way to All-American status, and unfortunately it didn't happen, but people saw what he was able to do. Now the Texans at number 2, I took C.J. Stroud. So now it might be time to get either a weapon for him or some pass rush. Let's see, they took Derek Stingley this year. Took Jalen Petrie. There is receivers available. There is some pass rushers available. I think it's time to get them a good pass rusher. It's just abysmal now. They used to have a great pass rush. Jadeveon Clowney, J.J. Watt, guys like that. But I think grab Myles Murphy from here. That's great value. People might think this is too late for Myles Murphy, but it's just what happens in drafts. People fall. People go earlier than they should, later than they should, where they should, everything in between. Now we got the Eagles back on the clock. I went Paris Johnson for them earlier. I'm probably going to go either safety or linebacker here. I would go Jacqueline Roy, but they just drafted Jordan Davis. I think linebacker is probably better value here. So I think I'm going to go with – where is he? Janae Sewell's brother, Noah Sewell. Dude is just a physical, freak at the linebacker position. He can hit, he can cover, he can defend the run, great instincts. He's a great player. Definitely worth the first-round pick. Now we got the Ravens, another team where you pretty much need to go wide receiver. I couldn't believe what happened where they traded away Marquise Brown. and then didn't draft a receiver. Doesn't make any sense. So let's just go Jordan Addison, best receiver available, Biletnikoff winner last year. Going to be interesting to see what happens with him at USC. I think it should be interesting. Then we got the Cardinals back on the clock. They need pass rush. They really need pass rush. However, the edges aren't actually that great that are available right now. It's a deep edge class, but it's not very top heavy. So I think what we could probably do here is grab them Jacqueline Roy, who's a fantastic interior pass rusher. Great value here too. He had one of the highest interior pressure rates in the SEC, which is saying something with the amount of dominant both O and D linemen there are in the SEC. So definitely worth the pick. Now we got the Seahawks back on the clock. They went Will Levis at 4. They need a lot. Let's see, they drafted Charles Cross. Their O-line, their tackle positions are right for now. They could use corner. They could use edge. I'm trying to think about the edges available. Let's take a look. Yeah, you know what? Let's go back-to-back LSU players. I know the website has them ranked a lot later, but B.J. Ojolari is definitely the next edge I like off the board. Little brother of Azeez Ojolari, a little bit better of a prospect coming out, honestly, a little bit twitchier, more fast twitch muscle than his brother. More of a speed rusher, I guess. Has an interesting array of pass rush moves. I like him a lot. Now we got the Chargers. There's not really a lot of holes in their team, for being honest. I mean, they drafted Zion Johnson. They traded for Khalil Mack. They got J.C. Jackson. They are stacked right now. Obviously, they still got Derwin James, Joey Bosa. They signed Sebastian Joseph Day. Young linebackers like Kenneth Murray. Their offense is stacked too. Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert. But I think a nice tight end would probably help them out. And we do have a fantastic tight end prospect here, Michael Mayer. Definitely not the third best tight end in the class. Like this had him ranked. I would say he's pretty much unanimously tight end 1. But I think if you add him to that Chargers offense, it just becomes unstoppable. Get the Dolphins again. They had just gone running back previously, so now I would think it would be a good idea to grab them. There's a couple options here, I guess. They don't really need edge very much. Let's see what's here at safety. Jordan Battle, Jalen Catalon, Brendan Joseph. These guys are all tempting. I think they have some of the safeties in this class listed at corner for some reason. Yeah, where is he? Brian Branch. Not even listed. Whatever. All right. Malachi Moore, you could call safety. Kind of depends. I like Joey Porter Jr. a lot, but I'm not sure if he's going to make this mock draft, even though I believe he should. This is a tough pick for me here. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go with the best offensive line prospect available. They still do need help on that offensive line. And, just keep building it up to protect Tua. You got Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. You got weapons out there for him. So, and especially if you just drafted a running back, you really want to keep that O-line tight. So I'd say the best O-lineman available in my opinion is probably, where is he? I'm going to pass him. Yeah, they got their rankings are all out of whack in my opinion, but I like Robert Scott Jr. a lot, but I think Anton Harrison's a fine pick here. All right. Now we got the Colts. Another tough team to draft for. They do have some holes. I think corner is probably their biggest need, considering they traded away Rock Ya-Sin. So I think that's probably their biggest need, in my opinion. And here's where I'm going to fit Joey Porter Jr. in, son of Steelers legend Joey Porter. Another big corner. This class is just full of oversized corners that are able to move like a much smaller player, and it's exciting. It's definitely what the NFL is leaning towards now. Now we got the Cowboys. They did draft Sam Williams for the edge to be on the side of Michael Parsons. Lost Randy Gregory. I still think safety is probably the biggest need here, so this is probably where we are going to take our first safety. And I think we're going to go with Jordan Battle here. Probably would have been a first-round pick last year. Decided to come back after losing the national championship to Georgia. Great player. Should be exciting to see if he can boost his draft stock this year or if it hurts him coming back. Then we got the Bengals. They do need tight end, but I don't think I'm going to draft one in the first round for them. They need corner badly as well. Definitely need corner. Best guy on the board is probably – I don't have too many players on this board, but I think Chris Abrams-Drain, probably the best corner available on the board there. Former receiver turned corner, freaky athletic ball skills, just needs to work on a little bit of polish at the corner position, and then could end up being a great player for you. Now we got the Detroit Lions back on the clock. I went Bryce Young for them earlier. They have some weapons out there for him now. Drafting another corner wouldn't hurt either. I feel like we keep going on these runs of picking a lot of DBs. But instead, I think going linebacker for them is probably what we'll go here, just because a lot of the good corners are off the board. We still got a first-round talent at linebacker like Trenton Simpson there. I like that pick for them a lot. Now as we approach the finishing up of the first round, we got the Packers. Don't think it's a shock to anybody that I'm going to take a receiver for them. I think the best receiver available is between Quentin Johnson and Josh Downs. I would probably personally lean more towards a guy like Josh Downs due to the sense that they drafted Christian Watson, who is a little bit of a bigger receiver, sort of similar to Quentin Johnston, and they could use a separator and run after catch guy like Josh Downs. Now we got the Chiefs on the clock, another tough team to draft for. They're just so good. I think losing Tyrann Mathieu is going to have a huge effect on their defense. So we're going to go with the best safety available, in my opinion, which is Brandon Joseph at Northwestern. Actually, he just transferred to Notre Dame, but it's still showing him at Northwestern, sort of hoping to fill in that Kyle Hamilton role at Notre Dame, and I think that would be fantastic for him and for his draft stock if he can. We got the Bucs here at 31. They got a lot of young corners. Hopefully they're able to re-sign some of them and they're able to stay healthy. I know that was a big issue last year. O-line did take a little bit of a hit with I can't forget his name. I can't remember his name now. He just retired. Ali Marpet just retired. He was definitely a big central part of their team. Javion Cohen should be higher than that. But anyway, I think here you could draft a guy like – where is he? Is he not even listed in here? Yeah, I just don't see him unless they're listing his name as Matthew, which I don't understand why they would. But anyway, I think here what we're going to do is just in terms of offensive linemen available, the best prospect would be Robert Scott Jr., in my opinion. Ranked too low on there, in my opinion, again. So anyway, now we got the Bills for the last pick of the first round. Once again, really a team with not a lot of holes, projected to win the Super Bowl. They did draft Kyer Elam last year to help out Tre'Davious White. Their O-line is really not bad. Their receiver room is aging a little bit in terms of Cole Beasley, and Stephon Diggs is getting older, even though he's not too old yet. They could probably use another receiving threat out there for Josh Allen. Although I don't know if the value is necessarily there right now. Yeah, despite signing Von Miller, I think the best value on the board right now is probably taking Nolan Smith at edge. Uh, Von Miller is already older, and his deal is not actually as long as it appears. Several outs on it. So I think we're going to go with Nolan Smith here, edge out of Georgia. Finish up the first round. All right, let's see. So we have a few quarterbacks going off the board. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Might be it. Yeah, so we only have 4 quarterbacks going off the board here, but we have a lot of corners. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 corners going off the board, which is definitely a lot. A few receivers, few offensive linemen, few good edge rushers. Definitely a good edge class as well. Pretty deep, but not as top heavy as the past few. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good day.